I have news for this organization. You wait. Make sure you're watching on 828. Oh, you watch. I have never urged you to follow my piecemeal gospel. Never. I've urged you to question with boldness and find out the truth for yourself through prayer, reading of good books, scriptures, you name it. If you're reading the scriptures, show me the phrase social justice anywhere in the Bible. Could you do that? Show me where Jesus puts the responsibility on the backs of the government to care for the poor. Show it to me. By the way, show me a single reference to Jesus on Faithful America's website. This is the organization that was doing it. You can't. There isn't a single reference. For an organization that's so concerned about me preaching the incorrect version of Jesus' message, Jesus, strangely, is missing from the website that they promote. What you will find, though, are plenty of mentions of health care, climate change, social justice, immigration reform, every other Barack Obama agenda item, and, of course, bashing me, Sarah Palin, and Newt Gingrich. Now, I'm sure they bash out of the spirit of love and truth. But if you want more, just look at the board members of their parent company website, Faith in Public Life. Who are these people? Many of them are from the Center of American Progress. Oh, which we have some more on here in just a few minutes. I'm not asking you to blindly believe anything. In fact, I insist you do your own homework. I'll tell you what I've found, what I've seen. You can find it on your own. Find it. Find it yourself. You're an American citizen. Find it. Know it. You must decide whether social justice and collective salvation and the pushing of the progressive political agenda of Barack Obama is the gospel of Jesus Christ. You have to decide that. Maybe it is. Maybe you say, hey, you know what it is. Fine. But don't take my word for it, and don't take their word for it. Now, the second thing on that list was the Constitution. Have they attacked the Constitution? Well, attacked, ignored, and disregarded. Yes.
Madam Speaker, where specifically does the Constitution grant Congress the authority to enact an individual health insurance mandate?
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
Where in the Constitution is the federal government charged with maintaining people's health?
Well, there's not in the Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution that says the federal government has got anything to do with most of the stuff that we do.
Where in the Constitution?
We are going to. I don't worry about the Constitution on this, to be honest.
Is your question they can do it? Is your answer that they can do anything?
The federal government, yes, can and do most anything in this country.
What part of the Constitution do you think gives Congress the authority to mandate individuals to purchase health insurance?
Under several clauses. The Good and Welfare Clause and a couple others.
Okay. Well, I think you'll find the Good and Welfare Clause right by Good and Plenty in the movie counter. I mean, immediately following the separation of church and state section, you'll find the Good and Plenty Clause. What are you talking about? Not only do these politicians not know the Constitution, they don't care either. The Constitution is being erased. Faith has been perverted. History is being erased. And that process is being accelerated to the point where in Time magazines, this is last year's Time magazine, pictures of 2009. Here's everything. In the entire magazine, they didn't even mention the Tea Party movement. How? They're erasing it in real time. Even with a massive gathering on the mall last 9/12, are you kidding me? You did nothing? Progressives know that Americans believe that the Constitution and our founders who created it were divinely inspired. So if they can just continue to promote ignorance about what's in the Constitution and disparage those who wrote it, cut them down. Couple that with infiltrating our churches with the message that big government and collectivism, well, you've rotted the foundation of everything that built this country. Every night, my job is to not only show you their agenda, but encourage you to have an equal and opposite agenda. This isn't a news program. I told you that on day one. This is not a news program. I'm not an activist. I'm an American citizen. I tell you, about a year ago, I really started to lose hope. I did. Because I don't think the average, you don't have any idea how far ahead they are. But you also don't understand the power that you have. You don't have any idea. They're about to lose. They have a head start understanding faith, our Constitution, and our history. They know it wins every time. It won with LBJ, FDR, and Wilson. And if you fix those things, it will win again. We know what you're looking for. If you know what you're looking for, you'll be able to correct it, and we'll show it to you next. If the goal is to restore faith, history, and the rule of law, Constitution, founders, and God, well, are we moving in that direction? It has been well documented that the policies for the Center for American Progress are the policies of the White House. This is the George Soros organization. From health care to the stimulus to the financial regulations, all comes from here first. You can trace the Obama agenda and all the people in the White House right directly back to the Center for American Progress. It's where Van Jones is. It's where Van Jones came from. So, now what are they working on next? Well, education. Securing our youth's future. Here it is, education reform. Center for American Progress has published a new report on some recommendations on, what we should cut in our federal education programs. The report has outlined some interesting cuts to our programs. And here's what they believe needs to go, according to the Center for American Progress. They write, the Department of Education supports numerous, mostly small grant programs that serve niche purposes. Many of these programs should be eliminated, including the niche program, Academies for American History and Civics. Okay, history is a niche program. Who needs it? We're global now. What else? The We the People program on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Why would you want to instruct anybody? Civic education on the Constitution or Bill of Rights. Who needs it? And among other recommendations for cuts is excellence in economic education. Again, why promote economic and financial literacy? We have people like Barney Frank and Chris Dodd telling us exactly what we should do with our finances. If everyone was economically literate, if we had civic education, if we knew our history, well, then we might read the bills. We might elect entirely different people. If you're concerned, there's good news. There's more next. A new report out from the Center for American Progress, the Soros people, Education Transformation. It recommends eliminating some minor topics from our federal education programs, some of the things like niche things like American history, studying the Constitution, economic and financial literacy. But why? Well, some of these programs, they say, are good. They're good. Here's an explainer eliminating the We the People program, which teaches students about our Constitution. Quote, the program has had a positive evaluation, yet the Center for Civic Education's curricula and the materials serve just a small number of students, so don't expand it. The Obama administration proposed elimination of the program in fiscal year 2010 budget because it's just too small to have any real impact on history and civics achievement nationally. So you got rid of that. But I want you to know the NEA, the National Association, the Education Association, the teachers' unions, they do recommend some excellent reading that you can substitute. Recommended reading. Saul Alinsky, the American Organizer, NEA, great public school for great students. A resource for every organizer and anyone contemplating action in their community, it says of the NEA. Books listed, number 1, Rebel for Radicals, 1945, Alinsky bestseller. Number 2, Rules for Radicals, published in 1971. Look, I know you know this by now. You do. You cannot turn your children's education over to the government, especially the federal government. It must be kept close to you. It is time to get involved. And I know you are, but you got to wake your neighbors up. It is time to be active, because this much I guarantee you. They certainly are, and they have more transformation headed your way. It is imperative that you are as actively involved in guarding the republic and your children as they are trying to transform it. promised you there was going to be an interesting summer, and I think it has. On this program, we've done an awful lot of stuff, and some of it has been pretty scary. Next week is making a lot of people sweat because we're taking on the civil rights movement from the very, very beginning, setting history straight. Don't miss it. Next week from New York. Good night, America.